Can President Trump mass lay off federal workers? Several labor unions and some federal district courts have said no, he cannot. Today, we're going to find out why they're wrong. Several labor unions and other groups have filed lawsuits to stop President Trump's administration from laying off federal workers in mass groups. They claim he's violating federal statutes, including the Administrative Procedures Act. But before we can look at what federal statutes say, we need to understand what the Constitution allows. The U.S. Constitution is the supreme law of the land. So if there are any federal statutes that violate the Constitution, they are void on their face and out of consideration. So what does the Constitution say about the president's ability to fire federal employees? There are 4 relevant parts of Article 2 involved here. Article 2, Section 1 states, "The executive power shall be vested in a President of the United States of America." Well, what is executive power? Article 2, Section 3 explains it means the President shall take care that the laws be faithfully executed. This means that it is the legislature's job to make the laws and the President's job to ensure the laws are followed. Article 2, Section 2 states that he is the commander-in-chief of our military. This necessarily gives him the authority to fire any military personnel, period. This means the president has the power to hire, promote, demote, and fire military personnel as he sees fit. So the only firings still in consideration are those of civil employees. So later in Article 2, Section 2, we see it says the President shall nominate and by and with the advice and consent of the Senate shall appoint all other officers of the United States whose appointments are not herein otherwise provided for, and which shall be established by law. But the Congress may, by law, vest the appointment of such inferior officers as they think proper in the President alone, in the courts of law, or in the heads of departments. Here, it's important to note the distinction between officers and employees. Officers typically have significant decision-making authority and are appointed, as described in Section 2. On the other hand, employees are individuals who perform various tasks ranging from entry-level positions to management roles. In summary, while all officers are employees, not all employees are officers, and the specific roles and responsibilities of each can vary widely. So, we have high-level officers, inferior officers, and mere employees. The Constitution grants power for the appointing of high-level civil officers and inferior civil officers, but not for the hiring of mere civil employees. So, the Constitution says the President is the one to select high-level civil officers and all inferior civil officers unless a law places that power with the courts or in the heads of the departments. Being the head of the entire executive branch, which necessarily includes all government agencies and departments not specifically within the legislative or judicial branches, this means the President has the power to hire mere employees into the executive branch or subsidiary department or agency. So what about firings and layoffs? Article 2, Section 4 says, "All civil officers of the United States shall be removed from office on impeachment for and conviction of treason, bribery, and other high crimes and misdemeanors." But this is talking about the removal of one officer at a time. And it is only about civil officers, not mere civil employees. So what does this mean? First, nothing in the Constitution prohibits the President from firing mere government employees. And second, nothing in the Constitution allows Congress to interfere with him doing so. It also means that all inferior civil officers, those specifically not identified by the Constitution, must be removed on an individual basis if they have been impeached and convicted of a crime. That's a must. But with the president overseeing all executive departments and agencies, he may determine more or less inferior civil officers are needed. If he determines less inferior civil officers are needed in an executive branch department or agency, then he has the authority to remove those officer positions. Not just the officer's entire position. Consequently, the president has the authority to lay off mass numbers of inferior civil officers or civil employees. And that is exactly what has been done here.